last week was a bad week. Plain and simple. Can't hide it. I didn't do bad on the picks, but oh my goodness, the bets, the bets were really bad. I apologize if you followed that shit. I'm going to try and get it right this time. UFC 311 is coming up this weekend. We are in total redemption mode. My name is Brady. This is Be All In Sports. I've got my tail between my legs, and I just filmed this entire breakdown and realized that I had my mic on mute. So here it is. I am going back through this again. I did a whole in-depth breakdown of the first matches on that first recording, but you know what? It's late. I am tired as hell, and I'm going to try and get this out before it gets too much deeper into the week. I'll follow this up. I will have some more bets. I do have a couple parlays for you at the end, so stick around till the end. Or if you're one of those that wants to just get right to it, go straight to the end. I would caution you to listen to what I say with some of these, because you may feel one way or another about a couple of these bets after listening to some of these breakdowns. So make sure you do your own homework. Obviously, we're all going to have some bad weeks every once in a while. Is what it is. We try and get it back this weekend. The main thing is follow your research. Keep doing what you're doing. It will turn out. These things, their trends happen for a reason. The stats are there for a reason. So always pay attention to that. So we are going to kick it off. UFC 311. This should be a great fight night. This was supposed to be held in LA, and I believe they have, due to the fires, which anybody that is affected by those fires, family members, anything to that effect, my heart goes out to you. Prayers out to you. We're all with you. Hopefully everybody is staying safe. But I think they have moved this match to to Vegas. So T-Mobile, I believe, is where they're going to have it. So we'll get right into it. We are into this first match. We have Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Clayton Carpenter. Tagir is, I believe, 17-2, and Carpenter is 8-0. I'm sorry, 15-2 for Ulanbekov. You know, I see this matchup. They're both are decent strikers. They both have a well-rounded game. Ulanbekov is obviously training with Khabib, and his gym obviously has a lot of fighters on this one. They're traveling as an entourage this weekend. So Carpenter, on the other hand, he is at the MMA lab, which obviously is a great gym as well. But I got to side with experience in this one. I have to think that Ulanbekov is going to be a little bit more of the slicker striker. I did notice in their defense, as far as takedown defense, Ulanbekov about 65% takedown defense. That's not terrible. And Carpenter has about a 55% takedown accuracy. So I'm just hoping those two will kind of offset, and that we're going to get more of a standing match between the two. And at that point, I think that Ulanbekov is probably going to be the one that's throwing the higher volume. May take a few more of the punches from Carpenter, but in the end, I think that he'll find a way to get this either, by decision is where I actually think this is going to go. But I could see a takedown getting mixed in there at some point. He may be training for that. So overall, I am going to take Ulanbekov to win the first match of the night. If you haven't already, give us a like and a subscribe, and subscribe to the page. Follow us. Let us know what you're thinking of the picks. Put your own in there. Want to hear what everybody is going to pick for this weekend. Next up, we have Ricky Turcios taking on Bernardo Sopai. This one, I'm pretty excited to see Sopai return. He did get knocked out in his first match in the octagon, taking short notice, by the way, against Vinicius Oliveira. He's a wild man. Vinicius Oliveira is a wild man, and Sopai actually had pretty good success in the first round and a half, I'll say. So in this one, I think Turcios, even though he does have more experience in the UFC, he's been through some wars, but at the end of the day, he is kind of getting up there in age, and I have not been impressed necessarily with his last few performances. even in his wins, not necessarily over the top wins. So, but Sopai, on the other hand, I'm pretty excited to see him. I think the UFC does want to push him. I'm just going to side with Sopai in this one. You know, it is what it is. I think the UFC would rather him be the one that they're getting to push. Kind of has that little image thing going. He's the younger fighter out of the two, and I think that he's got more upside. He's pretty slick with his takedowns as well, which Tercios does tend to have a little bit of an issue as far as getting taken down. So we'll see how it goes, but I am going to side with Sopai in this. We are flying right through this breakdown. Some of these fights may be a little out of order. I know there's been some fight cancellations, some fight changes. So we'll see how we go. But Reinier Nakamura taking on Muin Gafarov. This fight boils down to me, who is going to be able to offset each other's skills. Gafarov is, in my opinion, probably could be the better wrestler, but Nakamura is a wild man himself, and he does have a wrestling base. And I feel like he is going to be able to negate anything that Gafarov brings to the table. I think that he's going to be able to get this done. I think that if he does get to the ground and Gafarov is able to get into the ground, I think he's going to pop right back up, and I think it's going to eventually wear on Gafarov a little bit more. Nakamura could land a big overhand, big punch, and then I could see him kind of gaining momentum as the fight goes. At the end of the day, I think Nakamura is favored heavily for this reason. I'm not going to be betting, I don't think, anything on Nakamura right now. I don't like these heavy favorites. They tend to get me in trouble every time I pick something that I feel very, very confident and very sure of. Doesn't necessarily go that way. So, I'm probably not going to bet this as of now unless some of the odds maybe shift a little bit, or I can figure out a very, very confident parlay that I can put Nakamura in and then maybe. But as of right now, Nakamura is the pick. No bets in on this right now. Carol Hossa taking on Eileen Perez. I'm on the fence on this one just because I'm kind of wondering how Hossa is going to do against the takedowns for Perez. Perez is kind of nonstop. Once she gets going with the takedowns, she continually goes for them. And a lot of times she is very successful with this. She's I won her last 4 fights. Hossa has kind of been up and down. She does have that, win, loss. She has fought some higher level caliber fighters than Perez, I would say. But at the end of the day, I got to go with my girl, Eileen Perez. She's going to get out there, shake that booty, promote that OnlyFans, and a win is going to go along nicely with it. But at the end of the day, this is too difficult of a fight for you to, I would say, pick unless you really feel strongly with Hossa. But being that we're talking about like at Perez being a plus a 2-1, I don't know if I'm there yet. I don't know if I trust judges enough, because I do think this could go long. So at the end of the day, maybe does fight goes the distance on this one, but we'll see how the odds strike on that. But I think that I'm going to take Eileen Perez in this one. I think I've seen a lot of people on the Hossa side, but I just feel like I think Perez is going to end up finding a way to get it done. I think she's got a little bit more of that dog in her, and I think she's going to end up protecting herself from anything that Hossa is going to throw. We'll see, though. Hossa's good, and she has decent takedown defense, so we'll see if Perez can keep up the pace and continue to get it done. Next up, we have Grant Dawson taking on Diego Ferreira. Grant Dawson, 22-2-1 against Ferreira, 19-5. Ferreira's on that 2-fight winning streak. Dawson is also on a 2-fight winning streak himself, with his last match coming about 3 months ago to Rafa Garcia, where he did get a finish in there by ground and pound. I will say that Ferreira, I am more impressed with Ferreira's last win against Mateusz Rebecki. I think pretty highly of Rebecki, and Ferreira fucked him up, plain and simple. He turned his face into hamburger meat. Rebecki actually was doing decent in the first round and a half, and then the tables totally turned on him. In this matchup, even though I do like Ferreira and I am very impressed with his last match, he's still 40 years old. Grant Dawson is 30. I have to say that when you're talking about getting up there in age in the 40 level and Dawson being 10 years younger, he goes constantly for takedowns. And I think that eventually Father Time is going to get you. And I think this is the matchup that's going to kind of be a little bit too much. Dawson, we know what he's going to do. We know his game plan is going to be to come in and wrestle. I think Ferreira's definitely got the ability to pop back up, but I'm just wondering how many times can you do it successfully and do it over and over again? And I think that's where Dawson's going to be the stronger opponent that as far as the wrestling goes, because he's going to continually go for him, and he does, I believe, have the gas tank to get it through 3 rounds with Ferreira, especially if he can get the takedown right away. That first round, he starts wearing on him. I think 2 and 3, he's just going to continue to do the same. So I'm going to pick Grant Dawson in this match. Next up, Zachary Reese taking on Azamat Bakoev. I have not gotten to watch as much tape on Bakoev as I would like to yet, but I will tell you straight up what I saw from him. He looks like he is going to be the slower fighter out of these two. I think Zachary Reese has pretty high-level striking. He doesn't have a wealth of experience as far as fighting in the UFC, but guess what? Bakoev doesn't either, so we're neck and neck right there. This could be a really interesting fight, or this could be a really shitty fight. I personally think that I'm going to go with the underdog Zach Reese in this. I don't like somebody coming in on short notice, even though he's riding a very, very extended win streak here. And he hasn't fought bad competition from what it looks, but we're still not in the UFC. I know that LFA is, kind of a sister type company, a feeder company, but at the same time, Reese, he's had a couple matches right now, and he is on that 2-fight winning streak. He did take that slam to Cody Brundage, but it is what it is. Shit like that happens weird in fighting, and I think that for Bakoev to come in and immediately get that minus, or that 2-1 favor right there, I think is a little odd for me, and I think I'm going to side with Zachary Reese in this. This was one that, I don't know, I see it actually shifting back. I think Bakoev is going to actually shift back the other way, and I think Reese is towards the end and towards the more of the fight day where it starts winding down. I think you're going to see a lot of people getting on that Reese side, but I'm going to go Reese in this one. I'm going to get ahead of the train. I might actually put a bet in on this one. It won't be big, but I feel like he's going to have the goods on the feet, and I feel like he's dangerous enough on the ground that he's going to be able to negate anything that Bakoev does, unless it's just a takedown war and he gets stuck on his back. But I kind of trust Reese to keep distance in this one, use his striking advantages. I think he's going to be the quicker fighter, the slicker striker. So in this one, I'm going to go Reese. Next up, Yaelton Almeida taking on Sergey Spivak. I'm going Almeida in this one. I like the pick a lot. I think Spivak coming in the last time when he fought, I expected him to come in a little bit heavier to gain weight. He actually came in lighter than I expected him to. And I think that Almeida and Spivak are actually going to be similar in size. And to me, Almeida is the way more athletic, the way more skilled fighter on the ground. And I think this is where this one's going. If Spivak does take Almeida down, I'm not so sure it's a good idea, and I think that Almeida can definitely sub him from the bottom. But I think ultimately he's going to be the one that's going to control where this goes. I think he can take the back. I think he can definitely get it to the ground if he wants it there. Striking-wise, I probably would not want to stand with Sergey, but Yaelton could probably hold his own long enough to get the takedown that he's ultimately going to go for. So I'm going to pick with Yaelton Almeida in this one. I think this is going to be one that, after it's all over, this could be one that we look at and say, yeah, it was an obvious, easy win for him. Next up, we have a light heavyweight match between Bogdan Gustav and Billy Elikana. This fight, I think this is going to be one that I can't trust a newcomer in this one. I cannot. I'm not gonna side with Elikana in this. This is a fight that I think you have to go with the guy that already had the fight coming up, and he's got the more of the UFC experience. we've got a guy coming over from PFL, and then his latest win was in Lights Out. I can't trust that that's going to be a caliber fighter of UFC that UFC has. So I am going to side with Bogdan Gustav, and I'm not going to spend an abundance of time on this one, just for the simple fact that I don't have a lot to say. I have not done a lot of tape study on Elikana yet, but I'm siding with what's there. Gustav, I've been impressed with him his last couple matches, so I had already picked him to win this one. I'm just not going to shift away from it. I think he can get it done. So I'm going Gustav in this one. All right, next up, we have a matchup between Peyton Talbot and Rony Barcelos. This is a bantamweight matchup. Peyton Talbot coming in at 9-0. The kid is impressive. He's got, I believe he has finished all of his matches in the UFC to this point. Yeah, he has, except on the Contender Series. He did go the distance with Reyes Cortez, but all of his other matches in the UFC have been finishes to this point, and he's been impressive. Rony Barcelos, on the other hand, he's kind of had a little bit of a back and forth. His last match out, he did end up winning against Christian Quinones. That was a submission, rear naked choke in that one. Other than that, he's had a tough go, but he has fought some high level competition. Other than the Kyler Phillips is kind of losing a little bit of steam that last loss that he took, but he did fight Umar Nurmagomedov. So take it for what it is. Everybody's losing to him. So in this one, I am going to have to side. He is a heavy favorite, unbettable in my eyes, unless you're going to pick an exact method that he might win, which I would say that it's going to be a finish. If I had if I just had to pick one off the top of my head, but even at that range, you're talking about something that I believe is probably going to be unbettable. So I would just stick on the safe side of this, and Peyton Talbot's going to be the bet, but fucking don't bet on this shit because it's way too far off. If you are going to bet, I'd say you put plus money on, or take the plus 3.5 on Rony Barcelos, because you're probably going to get plus odds with it, and it's not a bad bet. And if you think that he may pull out just a miracle win, take the plus 750. But I would stay away from this if you're betting the Peyton Talbot side, because I don't see much advantage in it. Next up, we have Kevin Holland is going to be taking on Reinier de Ridder. This is going to be an interesting matchup. Kevin Holland, he's coming into this one off of a loss to Roman Dolidze. He did have that rib injury. Other than that, he's fought some pretty high level competition. He has, for the most part, lost a lot of that high level competition against some pretty decent strikers here. But again, it has been high level. De Ridder is coming over from ONE FC. He did have his last fight against Gerald Meerschaert, where he was introduced to the UFC. He did get a submission in that one. But in this particular one, now, the UFC, here is what happened. Vegas went, and I had Kevin Holland picked out. He was going to be one of my underdogs in this. But doing a little bit more homework, I'm just not sure that Kevin Holland is necessarily all invested anymore in the fight game. I know he obviously makes the living doing it, ups his profile doing it, but I feel like he's kind of going to start branching out. He's getting a little bit older. He's had a lot of UFC fights. Obviously, he is the younger fighter out of these two, but De Ridder, I believe, has more experience, and I think that he is going to be a very, very big challenge for Holland. They're trying to push De Ridder up the chain. If he's going to make anything of himself in the UFC, which I don't see why you would bring a two-division champion over from another federation if you don't think that he's going to possibly be something high level in yours and can compete against the most high level that you have in that division. So I don't think that Kevin Holland is necessarily the highest level of competition that de Ridder is possibly going to encounter, but he is a step up in competition from what he's had previously, especially in the UFC. Going from Meerschaert to Holland's a big jump up. And I think this is a very, very winnable fight for Holland, but I think it's going to be close. And I think if anybody's going to get a finish, Holland is he's not a huge finisher, especially against somebody with the equal size as him and pretty much advantages everywhere where he has them. De Ridder is a good striker. I was not too impressed with his first match. I'm going to be honest, but he got it done. He found a way to get it done. And I think that it's going to be the same thing when he faces Holland. I think there could be a possible finish, but if not, I think he is well within range to get a split decision. And, if Holland does win, hey, more credit to him. But I think I'm gonna switch up my original thinking. And I was originally on Holland when he was in the underdog status, but now that it's switched back and de Ridder has now slightly gone to the underdog, I think I'm gonna go de Ridder. So there it is, de Ridder for my pick on this one. It's a dangerous pick. Not entirely confident in it, but I think if anything, de Ridder has enough ability to get it to a decision. And even if he does get in trouble, I think he could possibly get around. So I'm going to go de Ridder in this one. But Neil Dariush taking on Money Moicano. But Neil Dariush, you look like you're on the verge of like a 45 to 50-year-old, but you're actually not. He's actually mid-30s, I believe. But anyway, aside from age, it's not much of a factor because, he's 35. They're both 35. I am going to side with, and I know this could be an unpopular pick because Dariush has fought some high-level competition, but I feel like Moicano is going to be kind of one of those that's coming in on some momentum. He absolutely destroyed Benoit Saint Denis when he got him to the ground the last match. He absolutely went ham on his ass, and he did it with a broken collarbone. That's the one thing that was only 3 months ago. That collarbone was absolutely snapped. So that kind of has me pausing just a little bit. No bets in on this fight. I'm not going to be betting this one, even though at first I was all in on Moicano. I'm not going to lie. Dariush is an impressive striker. He's impressive on the ground. He's good anywhere it goes, and I could definitely see him getting this done in this. But I'm going to side with Moicano hesitantly. It's not an overconfident pick, but I just feel like the momentum that he's riding, I feel like he's a dog. He's going to try and dog it out. And Dariush, it's been a year, a little over a year since he fought last. I don't like the long layoff for him. So in this one, I'm going to go Moicano. All right, this is probably one of the most anticipated matchups for me of the entire night. Jiri Prochazka taking on Jamahal Hill. Jiri, the last fight out, obviously, he was in a bad spot with Pereira. Who isn't? Jamahal Hill, last fight out against Pereira. So we are taking their last two opponent as their common denominator, and both of them got knocked out. So it's hard to kind of narrow that down. But here's what I'm going to say about this. I do like Prochazka a lot. I'm a big fan of him. I like the lifestyle that he lives. I like what he brings to the table when he fights. He's exciting. That win against Rakic was impressive. I thought he was done for, and then he ends up pulling it out. That is always on the table with him. But in this particular matchup, I feel like Hill is the type of fighter that can counteract all of the excess movement that Prochazka puts out there. He is constantly on the move. He's constantly dipping, ducking, going side to side. And I think Hill is the type that will just kind of walk through him, just walk straight to him and put him in bad spots up against the cage. And I think that's where he's going to excel, and he's going to start pounding it away, possibly get some body shots in there. Prochazka's wild, but I feel like Hill is more the in-the-pocket boxer, and I feel like he's going to have the advantages to get it done here. Prochazka, even if he does get it to the ground, which I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case, Hill's got good takedown defense, and he's pissed. He is very, very, very pissed, and Sometimes that can be a disadvantage, but in this particular instance, I think it'll be an advantage for Hill. I think he's going to come in with a major chip on his shoulder. I don't necessarily like hearing all the rhetoric that he's had lately either, but it is what it is. I like Prochazka better as far as a fighter goes, but I'm siding with Hill in this one. He's the slight favorite. If you're on the Prochazka side, maybe get him now because this could change. He could slide into that favorite spot. He does have more experience as fighting goes, but that can also wear on you as well because he's also been taken out more. So I think I'm going to go with Hill. I think he's going to be able to get this one done, and I think he's going to cause Prochazka some problems with the pressure that he's going to create. All right, here we go. This is going to be Bantamweight Championship match, 5 rounds. Merab Dvalishvili taking on Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm going with Umar, okay? I have gone over this many times. I've watched their tape. I've tried to figure out a way that I can put Merab in the winner's circle on this one because quite honestly, it's not a bad betting odds right now, but I just cannot get there every time when I'm looking at tape. All I see are speed advantages for Umar, the better striker. I don't think he's going to be able to get him to the ground, to be quite honest with you, and I think that's where Dvalishvili thrives. Umar has 100% takedown defense. Nobody's taking him down. Maybe not everybody is trying, but there's a reason for that. It's because you don't want to be there. I think if he does go there, he's going to pop right back up, and it's going to be an even more energy expense for Dvalishvili to actually get it to the ground. So to me, and I know that a lot of people do not have this as one of their most confident picks, but I am highly confident that Umar Nurmagomedov gets this done against Merab Dvalishvili. And I think Merab knows it too. I think this is going to be one of those matchups that after the fight is over, we truly reflect on it and you see, like, damn, this man has all of it. He's got the wrestling is there, the grappling is there, the striking is there. Those question mark kicks are fucking deadly. And Umar is going to get this done. I can see this going long because Merab's got a chin. He can take a punch. But I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say that Umar is going to get this done by KO or TKO. I think he finishes Merab in this one. I think it's going to be the first time that Merab's finished. Merab's getting up there in age too, which nobody seems to be mentioning. Umar is the younger fighter, and Merab's 35 years old. This is bantamweight. How many bantamweights do you know at 35 years old that are highly successful? Yes, Merab has a gas tank. Yes, Merab is the champion, and he has fought some high-level competition. But it's at some point, Father Time catches up with you, and I think this is a match that is going to catch up. I think that Umar is going to show him levels of skill above. Merab is impressive. Not going to take anything away from him, discredit him. He's a goofball, but he's good at what he does, which is takedowns. And I don't think that he's going to be successful in one, getting the takedowns, two, keeping it there. So and once he keeps it there, what the fuck is he going to do? You're not going to ground and pound because that's going to give him advantages to get up. So if you're just going to lay there on him, maybe, but I don't even think it's going to happen then. I'm highly confident Umar gets this done. I'm going to Nurmagomedov. He's going to continue the family name, bring the championship to the bantamweight division, and probably keep it for a pretty fucking long time. Last, but certainly not least, we have another championship matchup, this time in the lightweight division between Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. These two have fought before, and Islam came out as the unanimous favorite or unanimous winner. This, I don't see anything that's changing that. And now you've got this little caveat about Tsarukyan may have staph on his chest. I don't know if that's true, but I know that he is one. The things that I do know, he's fucking jacked right now. He is pumped up. He's ready to go for this fight, but Islam he's a beast. He's going to be the bigger fighter. I think in the first fight, it's kind of one of those situations. You get somebody coming in who is extremely excited to be in the UFC, extremely pumped up, and Makhachev has already been there, maybe not necessarily aware of what this person is bringing to the table. As Tsarukyan came in, and I think he kind of caught him off guard, maybe took him a little bit lighter, wasn't expecting his game plan, wasn't preparing for that. This time he is going to be well prepared. He's going to be preparing for what Tsarukyan is going to bring to the table. And I cannot see at this point. I'm in the range of, you're going to have to show me this man can be beaten right now before I'm going to bet against him. So it's, to me, I went back and forth at first. I was like, maybe Tsarukyan, he is jacked. He looked great, this and this and this. But at the end of the day, Islam's got skills that I feel are comparable, if not better than Khabib. And Khabib just absolutely dominated the division. I think you're still going to see that. This could be a test. It could get close. But ultimately, I'm going to side with Makhachev. I think he gets it done. I think he subs him. But that's what I'm going to side with in this one. Just overall, I think he gets it done. It's not though. I think this may get a little bit closer as the match goes. So if you are going to bet Makhachev, maybe hold off. I would suggest that, unless you find out that Tsarukyan does have staph infection. That'll probably push your betting lines to where you're not going to feel very comfortable betting them. So keep up on that story. Kind of watch where that one's going. And but that is my breakdown for all of these matches in UFC 311. Hope you've enjoyed that. Let's get to the part that most of you probably all came for, and that is the betting side of this. Like I said, I only have 2 parlays in right now, but I think they're good ones, okay? And Umar, as you can see, is in both of them because I'm fucking highly confident that this man can get this done. Umar Nurmagomedov money line is going to be my first one, teamed up with Reinier de Ridder plus 7.5 spread. I did push this. It was, I believe, a plus 3.5 spread. And all this is kind of due to the changes that are going on, him shifting back and forth and back and forth. Like I said, I think this is a fight that's going to go long. So I don't see either one of these getting it done. And honestly, if one of them does get it done, I actually see it on the de Ridder side a little bit more. You can get this right now on DraftKings plus 109. I have 2 units on this one. I'm going, as of right now, my unit's $25. So 2 units, obviously. And then my next parlay, Umar Nurmagomedov once again on the money line, and Yeldon Almeida on the money line as well. I put this in earlier. Odds are similar. If you take these right now, you may get them a little bit different, but it's going to be close to that minus 159 on DraftKings. This is not a huge play. This is a confident play. I'm pretty confident that both of these guys are able to get this done. So I felt pretty confident. I went a little bit higher on this one, 2.1 units. So that's my 2 parlays that I have in for right now. I'm going to do some more homework on this shit. I just wanted to get this out before too long. I'm sorry. It's so late at night. I am tired as hell, but I appreciate all the people that are sticking with us, watching these videos as they come out. We put a lot of time into these, a lot of effort. Thanks for watching. I'll come back and I'll give you more bets. I've got some more stuff that I'm going to be putting in, but this is what I've got so far. That is the betting breakdown. This is Be All In Sports. My name is Brady. See you next time. Enjoy the fights this weekend, and peace out, people.